Good evening. Hi, I'm Dr. Burkenstock, owner of Skin Body Health in New Orleans, Louisiana and Mandeville, Louisiana. We're also licensed in Florida and Alabama as well as Louisiana, and we've been serving the community for over 20 years. We're delighted to bring webinars to you at least twice a month on many anti-aging helps, hindrances, hormone difficulties, weight loss issues and how to overcome them, skin issues and what we can do there, as well as bioidentical, otherwise known as natural hormones. Well, one of the issues often overlooked, what I've come to find over the years, is that many younger ladies have hormone issues that just are undiscovered. So we're pretty good at diagnosing menopause, that's when a woman loses her fertility and cycle, and then may or may not need natural hormones, bioidentical hormone creams, which is what I recommend. And then there's the perimenopause. So we finally started treating that group of women, which is when the cycles may be starting to change and you can have tremendous amount of hot flashes, weight changes, skin changes, moodiness, bloating, etc. And then of course, male menopause or andropause. So yes, guys get it too. So for gentlemen, when their testosterone goes low, and a lot of it may or may not convert over to estrogen, they become more emotional. They lose stamina, drive, and sometimes have difficulties in the bedroom with erections or other issues. And we help them in much the same way by adjusting their hormones to what their hormones should be for a male. And yes, males do have testosterone, 3 types of estrogen, progesterone, DHEA, cortisol, and such, just like the females do. Last but not least, what is now being treated and is very treatable and was often overlooked, and we did a very much of a disservice to our younger females and males, is a thing called hormone disbalance or hormone unbalance in the younger population. So even though they may be having normal cycles, it can apply to males too, but much more common in females. They can absolutely have a hormone disruption, and they're going to their doctors saying, I feel like I'm going crazy, I'm moody, I'm so paranoid. And if they're just go to a old-fashioned practitioner that maybe doesn't treat this or doesn't treat hormones at all, they're usually given a prescription for Prozac or Zoloft or one of the many other antidepressants or antipsychotics. But they weren't psychotic at all. What we really needed to do for them was to draw a full panel of blood work, of course, of their liver, their thyroid, their blood sugar, CBC count, a blood cell count for anemia, as well as vitamins like vitamin B12, folate, B9, which is very important for mood, memory, cravings, etc. But in addition to this, we also need to look at vitamin D. Well, what's so special about vitamin D? Well, we all know it helps immunity. Well, what does that have to do with hormones? What we forget is that research has shown, although the name will probably never be changed, that vitamin D is actually hormone D. It reacts as a hormone around the body and not so much as a vitamin, but we still call it vitamin D. Nonetheless, a great level of vitamin T between 85 and 100 absolutely puts someone at their peak mental performance, decreases moodiness and depression, as well as helps in a whole host of other things like bone health, prevention of diabetes, etc. In the blood profile for these young ladies that come in and just are at their wits' ends and they don't know what's wrong with them, they're even checking in with their friends and relatives going, am I crazy? I just don't understand what's going on with my body. And then what we find, if we draw the proper panels, it may or it may not be related to their hormones. So we're going to bring on a guest in a little while of one of my clients, one of the many, who had this problem undiagnosed for many years. So then we go on and draw a true hormone panel, which is the progesterone, your 3 types of estrogen, testosterone, DHEA, cortisol, etc. And we do it on days 19, 20, or 21 of the cycle, so that we can see as we cross into that luteal phase, when we know where the levels should be, if they're on target. If their estrogen is through the roof and they're estrogen dominant, we know that's cutting off their progesterone and they're going to act bat crazy. We also look at their progesterone. If their progesterone is low with or without estrogen dominance, once again, they can be acting crazy as a loon, but they're not. If we simply straighten out the hormones through, we'll tell you some natural things, as well as perhaps natural hormones, bioidentical hormone creams, not patches, pills, or birth control pills, we can absolutely get a hormone success, a home run in rebalancing the hormones and getting these ladies' life back. In addition to that, I always draw a TSH and a free T3, which is thyroid hormone T4 and T3, and once we find out that information, if that hormone is out of whack as well, you can have 3 or 4 or even 5 different reasons for the brain to be cutting off serotonin. Serotonin is your natural happy hormone, which progesterone does drive, and without that, you're taking serotonin replacements like Prozac or Zoloft or Lexapro, when all those chemicals aren't needed in many, many cases. Of course, always speak with your physician before you stop or start any medication. But I want to enlighten our guests that it's not always about a prescription. It may be a hormone and or vitamin imbalance. So what we know is that low levels of estrogen can cause even a psychosis, someone looking psychotic. So can high estrogen. And it can come off as a psychosis or a paranoia or a schizophrenia or simply anxiety and depression. If you have this sort of estrogen or hormone or low progesterone psychosis, you can find many studies on this, and they all sort of point to the lack of estrogen. But we know that progesterone can cause the same problems. And progesterone is what we often see low in the younger female. Not always, but often. So obviously then, a combination of both low progesterone and estrogen can get your mind just twirling. And some of the hints that this might be your problem is that at other points during the month, during the cycle, you feel more together, more with it, and just not so stressed out, paranoid, moody, depressed, anxious, etc. So we also must be aware that in our current world, there's so many more xenoestrogens. Well, what is a xenoestrogen? That is XENO estrogen. Xenoestrogens are found in a lot of the processed foods we're eating, many of the meats and eggs that we're eating, as well as fast foods like McDonald's, Arby's, not just limited to them. So these xenoestrogens, which come from tainted cattle with hormones and antibiotics, and then of course the eggs from the chickens who are eating the feed that is tainted, and so on and so forth, and it just sort of falls down and it finally gets to us as humans. In addition to that, we're now in about our 3rd generation of ladies that have been on birth control pills, which contain estrogen, progestin, so on and so forth. Well, we didn't have this 3 generations ago. And what's happening now is when the ladies are urinating, that the birth control pill, the excess estrogen and progestins, which yes is a synthetic form of progesterone, is going into our municipal waters. Our waters are cleared for things like lead and arsenic and chlorine, etc. But our water is not treated for all of these synthetic estrogens and synthetic progesterones that are now, because of urine, in our water supply. So suffice it to say, we're getting bad estrogens from the smog, the environment, the pollution. We're also getting them in our processed foods and fast food change. And then, of course, if you're taking a birth control pill, you're getting them even more. Then, besides just that, you may just internally have a hormone imbalance that you were born with or genetically acquired that can very simply be treated. Let's talk about some very easy lifestyle changes that we can do to increase progesterone naturally. Well, diet is one of them. When we eat phytoestrogens, now, unlike the bad estrogen words I was saying before, phytoestrogen are natural estrogens from plants, and they're very, very good for us. So phytoestrogens can be found in things like vegetables, legumes like black-eyed peas and lentils, nuts, seeds, sunflower seeds, a variety of seeds. There are also progesterone-promoting nutrients such as vitamin B6, zinc, and magnesium. So we have our zinc, which is excellent not only to boost immunity, but also to straighten out male and female hormone imbalances. Hormone detox takes some of these xenoestrogens or bad estrogen out of the body, and it's really just a big balance of several of your B vitamin components that are just excellent in terms of fighting and pushing out the bad estrogen and helping us to promote not only good estrogen, but progesterone rebuilding. Other thing we can do is different lifestyle changes that are going to promote our endocrine system. Our endocrine system is what makes our hormones. And the endocrine system, like the ovaries, like the testicles, especially in regards to increasing progesterone. So when proper initiative is taken, a variety of positive effects will be seen all throughout the body, not just the brain and the moods. And it's solely in regard to hormones. So we know that diet plays such a big part of our overall health, especially hormones. And that colorful mix of foods is where you're going to find things like phytoestrogens, B6, and zinc that actually promote normal and wonderful hormone rebalance and hormone expansion. So foods with phytoestrogens, they're a weaker, safe plant-based estrogen, and by consuming those, we can resolve the state of estrogen dominance, meaning too much estrogen, which blocks progesterone production, to get more of a progesterone estrogen balance. So some of these phytoestrogen foods that are really helpful would be things like fruits, cherries, apples, papaya, pomegranate, plums, strawberries, peaches, tomatoes. As you notice, those are all red, orange, colorful foods. So colorful foods have these wonderful phytoestrogens. We can also, in some of our whole grains, find these nutrients that we're looking for to absolutely benefit the hormones. And that would be things like barley, oats, oatmeal, whole wheat, brown rice, dirty rice. And I don't mean the recipe dirty rice, but like the black queen rice. So our white rice, our white foods, most of the nutrients are cut off, and therefore you're eating almost the junk portion. So white rice, the junk portion of the rice. When you get the black on either end and such, like the queen rices and such, you're getting the nutrients back. Vegetables, so your colorful ones again, like Brussels sprouts, purple eggplants, green celery, orange yams, orange carrots, alfalfa, green parsley. Wonderful to help balance the hormones. I mentioned legumes, your lentils, black-eyed peas, garbanzo beans, split peas. The one I would sort of stay away from in the legume department is soy. Soy is a mixed bag, and while it does have some protein properties, it can absolutely increase your bad estrogen, E1 estrone, which is something we don't want. Estrone can cause cancer in both men and women. So those are some great foods. Some other foods that promote progesterone would be foods high in vitamin C, such as kiwis, oranges, cantaloupes, lima beans, walnuts, gluten-free whole grains, seafood, bananas, spinach, potatoes. And those are a lot of things that have zinc. Shrimp, oysters, beef, magnesium seeds, dark leafy vegetables, black beans, Brazil nuts, excellent not only for thyroid hormone, but for progesterone and estrogen hormones as well. Now, some foods that inhibit estrogen production, so if we drew your blood and saw very, very high estrogen, we would know that we're also going to see very, very low progesterone. So your melons, pineapples, figs, grapes, are very, very good. And we will put these on our website for you. If you don't remember, we've got our YouTube channel, Dr. Burkenstock Skin Body Health. That YouTube channel, Dr. Burkenstock Skin Body Health. Please click the link below and like and share us. Anybody who likes and shares us today is going to get a complimentary bottle of zinc. Excellent for all hormone production. Also, if you've missed any of our previous webinars, we speak to you almost every week for the last year. You can go to our YouTube channel, Dr. Burkenstock Skin Body Health, and review any of those ones, food labels, hormone detox, weight loss, skincare, that you may like. Also below, you can get the link to our Skin Body Health and website. And in the Skin Body Health, we have a product store, and you may be interested in some of our products there. We'll mention a few tonight. All of our vitamins and supplements have no chemicals or preservatives in them, and they have the GMP seal of approval, which lets you know they're manufactured in an FDA-approved facility. So there are also some non-inflammatory foods that will improve the functioning of hormone receptors where progesterone lives. And GABA, those are your calming neurotransmitters. Something that you can do just easy, so it's great for every part of your body, every organ system of your body, is moderate weight-bearing and strength-bearing training exercises. So if you can do 20 to 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week, this will sustain not only ideal body weight and fat percentage, it will also increase your hormones naturally. Hiking, dancing, jogging, running, any kind of exercise is good. So in addition to eating well and getting back to that exercise, limit your alcohol consumption. So current studies show that extreme alcohol consumption will increase estrogen and decrease or pull down progesterone. This happens in young women, premenopausal, perimenopausal, and also menopausal women. So maybe cut down a bit on those cocktails, or if you're going to have a drink, have a water in between before you have your next drink. Smoking is a biggie. We all know that smoking tobacco or anything is very bad for our lungs, but we often forget that smoking also messes with our hormones. So women that smoke, and men as well, but right now I'm focusing on that, will decrease your progesterone level. And when that happens, that cycle of the tobacco decreases the progesterone and increases cortisol. Cortisol is the nerve, the stress hormone. Stress hormone blocks your good hormones. In addition to that, cortisol goes to free fatty acid, which goes to fat and makes new fat cells. So cortisol is not our friend. It's that stress adrenaline hormone. And smoking adds to the production of cortisol and the decrease in progesterone. Another thing we can also do, free and cheap, is try to relieve some stress. So if you're having some premenstrual syndrome or PMS symptoms, you can do yoga, tai chi, deep breathing techniques. There are tons of these on YouTube. You can just Google 5-minute breathing techniques or 5-minute meditation techniques. When we bring our stress levels down, our good hormone levels have a chance to redevelop and build up. So balance your hormones holistically as well as you can with eating properly, avoiding processed foods, doing exercise, limit alcohol consumption, stop smoking if you are, and do your best to relieve stress through meditation or yoga and such. In addition to that, have your doctor pull some hormone levels on you, some vitamin levels on you, and some thyroid levels on you, and see if that might be your issue. If it is, you can rebalance these with natural hormones like bioidentical hormone creams, for example. That's my preference. There are other hormone replacement out there, but it wouldn't be something that I highly recommend. So in these younger girls, are we giving them 3 estrogens, testosterone, DHEA, and progesterone like we might be in our older menopausal women or andropause, male menopause clients? No. We'd be giving them a small amount of what they need, and we would cycle it in with their normal cycle. Small amounts on some days, moderate amounts on some days, and none at all on certain parts of the cycle. It rebalances them and can absolutely be a life changer. So I'm going to bring Miss Bailey on. Bailey, thank you for letting us use you today. Bailey is in nursing school and was having some of these issues. Mm-hmm. Can you tell me what you were feeling when you first came to me?
Yeah, so basically I'm a psych nurse, and I'm surrounded by, psychosis pretty much every day. So I started feeling the typical anxiety and depression, but then the paranoia kicked in to the point where I would leave the unit on my breaks and I would call my best friend and say, hey, I just feel like you're mad at me. Are you mad at me? Are you sure? And I would call my boyfriend, I would call my parents. Is anybody mad at me? I feel like everybody hates me right now. So it was a lot.
It was a lot. And so she came and we listened to her story. I drew some blood work. And first I just drew the basic blood work. And we found that her thyroid hormone levels were way off. So she was definitely hypothyroid. We corrected that. We looked at her B vitamins, and this was back in March, actually March of 2020. Her B vitamins, her B12, her folate, her B9, very, very low. So we've got two punches at the brain, okay? We've got the thyroid irritating the brain because the hormones were way off. We've got both of our B vitamins that work on memory, focus, cravings, moods, way, way off. Then her vitamin D, which remember I said is hormone D, was way low in the tank at a 29. So we put her on vitamin D drops, which immediately brought her up, and now she's at a level of 60 and absolutely corrected that problem. Of course, with the B12, we're doing B12 injections because she had a touch of pernicious anemia. Pernicious anemia means B12 and B9 folate deficiencies, and it often is seen with hypothyroidism. Of course, we corrected her thyroid, and every day she takes her little bit of thyroid hormone, and she was feeling better.
Yes.
But we weren't quite having a home run.
No.
And it's okay. So what's left? What's left for us to search? And I said, well, she's 28. And we've corrected all the major things, and there were some things. What else could it be? So then we looked at her female hormones. We asked her to, start counting with the beginning of her cycle. The first day you see anything, the first drop of blood is day 1, and we marched it out. And day 19, 20, or 21 is when we always ask our ladies to come in and give us some blood for their hormones so that we can get a clear picture on their luteal phase. And when we did that, what we found was that her testosterone was fine. Her estrogen, a little high, not over the charts, but her progesterone was almost negligible. So you give me someone in their luteal phase and they don't have their natural surge of progesterone, which is supposed to be up at 23, and you're just about at 0, I'm going to tell you there's someone that's going to be moody, anxious, maybe paranoid, maybe psychotic, maybe looks crazy, but they're not. They just don't have progesterone. So then we began her on some cycle of progesterone because her other hormones were basically intact. And how do you feel since we did that?
I felt immediately better after 2 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Do you feel paranoid anymore?
Not at all.
Okay. So you kind of got your life back. So just a little bit of progesterone in addition to fixing her other vitamin and thyroid hormone deficiencies. No Prozac, no Lexapro, and we have a happy person that's functioning normally again.
Yes.
So thank you so much,
Thank
Bailey.
you.
I certainly appreciate you coming on.
Thank you so much.
I'll open the floor for questions. As always, we appreciate you guys tuning in, and we love to deliver information that might be helpful to you or your family. We're here to serve.
Can I take my vitamin D if I'm taking any other medications?
Yeah, so the only medication you wouldn't want to take on top of your vitamin D is something like a thyroid hormone. Thyroid hormone you'd want to take very first thing in the morning, and then vitamin D, calcium, or any other vitamins you'd want to take at least 2 hours away or any other part of the day. So if you feel like your hormones may need rebalancing, please try the exercise, the colorful foods, the yoga, watch the alcohol, and stop smoking. Particularly if you want to rebalance your hormones naturally, you may not be at that stage where you need cyclic progesterone or one of the other deficiencies in hormones. You may not be a thyroid hormone patient, or you may. But if you simply are feeling out of sorts during most of the days of your period, or just during a certain week or 10 days of your period, then what I would highly recommend for you is Zinc Prime, our Hormone Detox, which is a beautiful balance which pulls down the bad estrogens and allows the progesterone to naturally increase, and Alkaline Greens, which is all of your colorful fruits and vegetables, the phytonutrients, the phytoestrogens from them, all together in the alkaline green. So this is what we call our Hormone Rebalance Bundle. Good for any age. Hormone Rebalance Bundle, especially great for young people. And it's 20% off for the next month in our store, at skinbodyhealth.com. 20% off our Hormone Rebalance Bundle. If you fight weight gain during your cycles, periods, or certain times of the month, you may also be interested in our Jumpstart Juice, full of vitamin and minerals, and helps you detox, especially if you're feeling overly bloated or overly full, or you gain a little bit of the weight that time of the month. So please remember to like and share. You'll be getting a complimentary Zinc Prime for anybody who shares. We always appreciate you tuning in. You take care, and we'll see you next time.